Hello, Georgetown. I'm Beverly Enos, and this is Spotlight Georgetown. If you'd like to become part of this process, just let us know. We can train you to work the cameras or work behind the scenes. If you'd like to be interviewed, let me know. I'd be more than happy to have you on. You can see the show Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. So come and join us every week. Today we're talking to Dave Shea, who is from the Charles C. Dane Masonic Lodge here in Georgetown. Welcome.
Beverly, thank you.
It's nice to see you.
Pleasure to be here.
Now, how long have you lived in town?
I've lived in town for approximately 22 years. I moved in 1986, a year after I got married. Originally from Salem, Massachusetts, and I just love it up here in Georgetown. My first house, I put a ton of work into it and don't plan on moving, so Georgetown is my home now.
And nice place to have a family.
Absolutely. I've got a wife, Kathy. We've been married together. Our 25th is coming up soon. I've got two children that were brought through the Georgetown school system, a daughter, Jessica, who's 22, and a son, Samson, who's 19 now. Both in college now. My daughter's just graduating from Maine College of Art. My son is studying to be a chef at the Culinary Institute of America. So the kids are doing great.
That sounds like
the
fun.
family's well. Yeah.
Now, what is Masonry?
Masonry, one of the definitions that's put out there, it's a system of morality. I want to make sure I get this right. It's a system of morality veiled in allegory and illustrated by symbols.
Okay, which is why there's so much symbolism that goes along with with Masons in the lodge.
Mm-hmm. And it just makes it so interesting. Masonry was first formed into becoming Freemasonry back in the early 1700s. And it was a takeoff from the Mason guilds that built all the grand cathedrals and structures in Europe. And Masons that built those cathedrals, they actually had lodges, and they had masters, and they had entered apprentices, fellow crafts, and they had the same system that we as Freemasons use in our structure. But back in the 1700s, some very wise men put together this system to build morality and character building using the tools and the craft of Masonry, and use those tools and symbols and some beautiful lecture to teach how to be. We make good men better. I don't know if we had it first or the Marine Corps had it first, but I believe we did. We make good men better.
Now, how do you become a Mason?
First of all, you've got to have the desire. If you have the desire, you contact. What it used to be is to be a Mason, you'd see some bumper stickers or so that said, "To be one, ask one." And it would be 2 with the number 2, be one, ask one. And you couldn't, as a Mason, if you had a friend or someone that you thought would be a good Mason, you couldn't ask them in the past, I got a great thing, Masonry, I'm really excited about it. I think you'd become a great Mason. You had to wait for them to ask you, because that showed they had the interest. And until recently, now we openly recruit, because we found there were no rules in our system that said you had to not ask and people had to ask you. So now we openly recruit. Now you hear radio advertisements, you see things in the newspaper, TV advertisements. And the state of Massachusetts, the Grand Lodge of Massachusetts, is in the forefront of doing all the recruiting. So now, to be a Mason, you just have to contact a local lodge, get in touch with us, and you fill out an application. It's almost just like a job interview. There's certain questions to answer. And what we're looking for is, in those questions, are you interested in becoming a Mason? Are you joining for the right reasons? Are you the right type of person, moral character, good family person, good person in society? And we look at the application, and there's one thing that absolutely has to be on there. The question is, do you believe in a supreme being? And you have to answer yes. And the reason for that is we want to know that you believe in the afterlife, that your time here on earth is part of making your next, wherever you go next, better. So you're building your character here. If you didn't believe in a supreme being, the oaths you have to go under wouldn't mean anything. Once you fill out the application, we put together an investigation committee, and what that is just 3 brothers from the lodge. They'll review the application. They'll look at your references, just like you would in a job interview. They'll call them. Is Joe, Bo, whatever. Great guy. What's he like? Then we actually have an interview with the candidate. Meet their family if the family has any questions, because masonry, some people aren't too sure what it is, and sometimes it gets because it's not very well known. Some people don't think it's a great organization, which that's absolutely wrong. It's a great organization. So once the interview is done and we bring it back to Lodge, the candidate is voted on in Lodge. There's a ballot box that goes around in Lodge, and you'll pick either a white ball or black cube. And if it's unanimously, you'll see all white balls. If you pull a black cube, only one member has to be against the new candidate. They're not elected. I've never seen that happen. It's always been good people coming into the Lodge. So once they have voted on, then they'll come in for Lodge. They'll go through a 3-degree process. 1 month they'll do their first degree. They'll come back the next month, do a second degree, which is all ritual, and is it's to move them along and teaching them the first basic parts of masonry. Then the third month you could go through your third degree. Once you pass your third degree, you're a Master Mason. You're equal to everybody else. Okay.
Now, the Masonic Lodge here in Georgetown is right at the center of Square.
Yep.
It's upstairs over meters.
Right.
So a lot of people don't realize it's right there until you see the banners, open house or something like that.
Those are my banners, by the way, too. I put them all together. I've been, like I said, Beverly, I've been in town for 22 years. In the first few years, I didn't join Masonry until 6 years ago. And I didn't even know the Lodge was there. Like most people in Georgetown, you drive through the center of town, you see this gray building. It's called the Union Building. It's been there since the mid-1800s. And the Lodge has been there. The Lodge has been in Georgetown since 1867, occupying that same spot. I believe there was a fire there, in the late 1800s, but they rebuilt, and that's where the Lodge has always been. So we're above Mita's, Karen's Barber Shop, Pingree. The whole second floor is the Lodge.
I've actually used that hall for different things.
Yep, it's a great hall. You got a huge dining room towards the Georgetown Savings Bank. We got a nice kitchen, and then off to the other end, above Pingree and that end of the Lodge is the Lodge room. It's got the 2 doors, and that's where we do all our meetings.
Now, how did you get involved?
I've always been interested in character building and self-improvement. I do a lot of reading. Whenever my wife and I go to Barnes & Nobles or a bookstore, she goes off to the fiction or what have you. I'm always over in the self-improvement section. Not that I got a problem, but I've always, there's a lot of good literature out there to read and to better yourself. I did a lot of reading with in the mid-'90s, early '90s on Stephen Covey, seven Habits of Highly Effective People, Dr. Wayne Dyer. I just eat that stuff up, and I enjoyed it. And then one weekend, I go skiing with a group of guys once a weekend every winter. And one time we're sitting around after a night of skiing, we're having our dinner and everything, and we're just sitting around talking about integrity, morality, stuff that most guys, that when they go up into on a weekend with guys, they don't talk about. But this is what this group was talking about. And somehow the conversation rolled around to Masonry, because 2 of the members there were Masons, and they saw how I was talking and what I was interested in. Said, and this is when now you could ask people. And they said, you should make a great Mason. You should consider joining. I says, well, how do you do it? The same questions you asked me. And it says, well, find out where your local lodge is in town. And my son happened to be in Boy Scouts at the time. And there's a gentleman in town by the name of Steve Kachakian. I don't know if you know Steve. Great guy. And he was the scout master for Troop 51 for over 25 years. And Steve still attended the meetings when I was there with my son. And I didn't know Steve very well at all, but I just knew he was a nice guy, a hard worker. So I went over to him, we started talking about it. He goes, oh, yeah, I'll get you an application, and got me, make a long story short, he got me the application. I was investigated, went through the 3 degrees, and I became a Master Mason. Steve, since then, has became one of my best friends. The guy's old enough, to be my father, and but it's not a father-brother, a father-son situation. We're brothers, and that's how I became involved in Masonry.
Now, we talked about where the lodge is. Now, when do you meet?
The lodge meets on the 3rd Tuesday of every month. We take 2 months off. We don't meet in July and August. Those are what are called our dark months. The lodge goes dark, which just means we do shut the lights off so we can enjoy our summer vacation and kind of rest and refresh ourselves. But it starts back up in September. We meet once a month.
And what do you do at a meeting?
Well, the lodge opens up at, there's a communication, first of all, that's sent out as like a monthly newsletter. And that has all the information. I've got one here. And this is, we put this together. It has a picture of Charles C. Dame on the front of it, our lodge founder. And inside of it just tells you, what we're doing at the next meeting.
Like a program.
A program, exactly. And in the end, I actually write, because I'm the master, there's a section called From the East. And it's just a letter to the brethren that couldn't make the meeting. It's just let them know what's going on. So everybody is kept up to date what's going on in the meeting. So we meet at the lodge opens at 6 o'clock. We go up there and we always start with a meal. So we got the great dining hall, and it's either some of the brothers are cooking or some of the other branches of Masonry. There's Rainbow Girls and there's Order of the Eastern Star. Some of the ladies may go in the kitchen and put on a meal, but we always start off with a meal. It's usually about $8, and it's a great home cooked meal. So you definitely get your money's worth there. And we sit down, we talk. Nothing really about lodge. It's just how's your family doing. It's just fun, camaraderie. At 7 o'clock, it's time to go into the lodge room. So we clean up, then we go into the lodge room. You shut the doors, and
you have your own
lodge
meeting.
starts.
Okay.
It's the same format that's been used for hundreds of years. So once you shut those doors, I almost think of it like as stepping back in time. You shut your cell phone off. There's no phones ringing. You almost step. What we do behind those lodge room doors is what they've been doing behind lodge room doors for hundreds of years. Nothing there has changed.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, your title is Worshipful Master.
Mm-hmm.
What's the hierarchy behind the Masons?
Right. Worshipful Master, it sounds like a real pompous title, and I'm sometimes embarrassed outside of lodge to tell people that I'm the Worshipful Master. I usually just say I'm the master of the lodge. Within the lodge, I am called the Worshipful Master, and nobody thinks, pompousness of it at all. What worshipful means is, back in the ancient time, it was just a sign of respect. Worshipful, how are you doing? It's your Lord or so. So as me being the head of the lodge, I'm the Worshipful Master, or Master. I am almost like the president of Charles C. Dame Lodge.
So you lead them.
Yes, I do. There's a group of officers below me, and everybody, once a year, you go through what's known as the chairs. And every lodge room in the world is set up the same exact way, the same proportion. Some may be bigger, some may be smaller, but it's the same rectangular proportion. Anywhere in the world, some are very simple, some are grand and ornate. But you've got a set of chairs that the officers go through, and there's 8 officers. You start from a position called Inside Sentinel. You're at the door, and you're guarding the door. Then you go through junior steward and senior steward, which are lesser roles. They do some floor work during ritual, but they don't have any speaking parts, say, for the ritual. Then you'd move up to deacon's positions. You got a junior deacon, a senior deacon, and as you're moving up through these chairs, you're taking on more responsibility in the meeting, in the candidate work for the first, second, and third degree. Then the 3 biggest chairs are the junior warden, the senior warden, and then the master. So it takes about 8 years to go through every chair, and every year we elect new officers, but usually everyone just moves up a chair.
So it's like a board of directors or a set of officers for
Right.
a lot of organizations.
Yes.
You start here, and then it takes
Right.
so many years before you get
Right.
before you complete.
Yep. And these titles here were used in gilded Mason lodges also.
Okay. Now, a lot of people don't realize, but Masons do a lot of charitable work.
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of charities do they donate to?
Well, Masonry is the largest fraternity in the world, largest and oldest fraternity in the world. Right now, I believe we have about 3 million members. And just in North America alone, and this is a hard number to believe, but it is true, and just in North America alone, Freemasons donate to charity $2 million a day.
A day?
A day.
Wow.
Some of the charities we have, some people don't realize this, but the Shriners. Shriners are Masons.
Right.
All Shriners are Masons. Not every Mason is a Shriner. The highest degree you can be in Masonry is a 3rd degree Mason. That's what I am. But you can now, since 100 years ago, they started making different branches of Masonry, so they could do different things. And Shriners was one of them. If you're a Shriner, you're not higher than I am, but you know,
It's just a different branch.
Right.
Now, the Shriners Circus always comes locally to
Yep,
Wilmington.
in Wilmington, right.
And when they put the book out, there's a page on Shriners, and then right next to it is the page on the Masons
Right.
and the Freemasons,
Well,
explaining the history
right.
of the two,
Right. Well,
of the
one of us- yeah.
organization and how it changed.
Yep.
And all their money, of course, is donated to the 22 hospitals that
Yeah,
they
okay, you even got the
that they
number
cover.
down,
Yes,
22, yep,
22
there's
hospitals.
22 burn clinics, and it's you know, magnificent, you know, what they do for the children.
So that's included as part of the Masons
That's
donations
part of it
$2
also.
million a
Yep.
day.
We do, in Grand Lodge in Massachusetts, we sponsor scholarships. They give away $500,000 a year just in Massachusetts to children of Masons in Massachusetts. We have a CHIP program, it's called. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's called the Child Identification Program. And we do those almost every other month.
Okay.
It's through Newburyport, or we've done one here in Georgetown a few years ago. And you get, what we do there is the children come to us, we set up our booth somewhere, and they do dental impressions, mouth swab, fingerprints, so we'll have the police department work with us. They do a videotape of the child, and that whole kit is packaged and given to the parent. You know, we don't hold on to them. It's none of that personal information stays with us. And then, God forbid, a child is missing, or your child is missing, you can grab that packet, contact the police, and it's actually recovered. Numerous children, and the police are behind this program 100%. So yeah, we've got the CHIP program. We've got an Angel Fund program here in town. And what we do is we contact the school committees, not the school committee, but the schools. We contact the nurses of each school. And we tell them, be on the lookout. If there's any children out there that seem to need clothing, or there's a field trip and the parents aren't doing that well, and they have to stay back because they don't have the money to go on the field trip, give us a call. And within 24 hours, and this is all anonymously, you know, we'll get the child what they need so they're not left out.
I've never heard of that. That's
Yep.
There's all kinds of
But
things.
it's Masons, most of our donations and charity is all done quietly and anonymously.
I have a couple of friends that are Masons, and they actually end up advocating for children and caretaking of children, and a lot of it does involve kids that
Absolutely, yeah,
that have any kind of a need.
There's in Lexington, there's the Masonic, they have a learning school for dyslexic children. You know, and that's the home base in Lexington, so there's a lot of money spent on, you know, helping dyslexic children. We do a lot of blood drives, so that, you know, we're always out there, you know, and that's part of what we do. We do charity.
Because it's a lot of people assume it's a secret society because you don't talk about what you do a lot, and you don't advertise, and you're not like a lot of the other organizations that are out there. But it's not a secret society, is it?
Absolutely not. We're not a secret society, but we are a society with secrets. Okay, and the secrets, to learn what the secrets are, you know, the best way to find out is to join. Okay, but there are no. If you're coming to find where the Holy Grail is, what the meaning of life is, you know, you might be able to find what the meaning of life is, but you're not going to find the Holy Grail. You're not going to find like a national treasure where all this booty is buried, you know, in Washington or underneath the Grand Lodge in Massachusetts. That's not the case. One of the biggest secrets is we have no secrets, and that's, you know, when you tell someone that, you know, sometimes they get a little let down. What do you mean you don't have any secrets? Well, not the kind of secrets you think they are that you're looking for, but the secrets that we help you discover are the secrets in here. Okay, the secrets that help build your character.
So it's actually a twofold organization: charitable to help others, but working to help yourself.
Absolutely.
And help each other.
That's what makes Masonry, Freemasons, I think that's the biggest difference between Freemasonry and, say, like the Rotary Club or the Kiwanis Club or the JCs, all great organizations, big in charity. But I think what the Masons can provide that, you know, they don't stress as much as Masons do is the character building. This ritual that we go through to bring a candidate into the third degree, it's so deep. And it's beautiful, you know, just to listen to, you know, the ritual that you hear and the symbolism that I've watched it numerous times with different candidates going through it, and you learn something new every single time.
Now, people can be any religion?
Any religion, yes.
As long as they
believe in a supreme being.
Believe in a supreme
Yeah.
being.
Yeah. We embrace that. You can be Buddhist, Hindu, Jewish, Catholic, Protestant. It makes no difference.
Okay.
And as long as, and what is common amongst all those religions is they do believe in a supreme being. That's all we want, and that's all we need.
All right. Now, how does your family feel about you being a Mason?
They actually they think it's great, just as much as I think it's great. They've seen how my character has changed, how I've become a better person. Not that I was a very bad person before, but this actually has made me a much better person. I'm a better husband. I'm a better father because I'm trying to teach what I'm learning in Masonry to my family in a different way. I don't make them go through a 3rd degree at my house, but I teach them the same, morality and how to treat people and just respect and the good things that I'm learning in Masonry. I show by example. I've got my friends, my co-workers all know I'm a Mason, and they hear it and go, "Oh, you're a Mason. That's fantastic!" And I can't wait to tell them about it. I really am very enthusiastic about it. I've got my Masonic diploma hung up in my house, right in my living room, dead center. That anyone that comes to my house, they can see that. It's almost like a college diploma. But everyone that gets their 3rd degree, they get this beautiful graduation diploma that they recommend that you frame. And I do that, and this is why I'm on the show. I'm excited about Masonry. Once you called and wanted to talk about it, I was very eager to do so. Even though it's the first time I've been in front of a camera, I feel that it's that important that I want to do something like that.
And this is something that actually builds character,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to work on your own values
Mm-hmm.
and help other people work on theirs.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, being as the position you're at now, what's your future in Masons?
My future is, you'd think that I became the master of the lodge, and next year I won't be the master, that I just step down and just go away. That's not the case. When I do leave what's called the East as the master, I will become what's known as a past master. And I'll get a big gold jewel that I can hang on my coat in lodge. But what I'll do at that time is I'll still attend lodge once a month. And now that I've gone through all the chairs, I've memorized the ritual, I know it inside and out, I'm there to help the other officers move up through the chairs. I can help them with the ritual. I can help them with what is the true meaning of what they're saying and what they're pointing out. Grand Lodge also in Massachusetts has started a program last year called the Masonic Ambassador Program. And they're asking every lodge to appoint 1 or 2 or 3 ambassadors. And what they want the ambassador to do is get out into your towns, let them know your lodge is there, what you do, exactly what I'm doing here, and twofold, to try and increase membership and get people to more people to enjoy, but just to join, and then also just to get the towns to know that you're there. That's who we are. We're the people up on the 2nd floor of the Union Building Association. When you see that Masonic temple sign on the side of the building, we're there, and we don't just shut our doors as they did in the olden days and did your stuff behind closed doors and did everything anonymously and quietly. The world we're in now needs a lot of help, so you can't do things as easily being quiet.
Okay.
You've got to get out there and get yourself to be known.
Now, there has to be a website.
There is a website, and let's see, I had my questions.
That's all right.
It's over there. I don't want to bend
No,
over,
no.
but if you go on Google, any computer, just Google Massachusetts Masonry, and you'll come up with the website for the Grand Lodge. You get onto that Grand Lodge website, and there's links you can put in your area code, your
Okay.
zip code even. And you type that in 01830 for Georgetown, and it'll link you to the Georgetown website and an email address. You just send it in, and
Okay.
we'll get a hold of you. I got a little clip in the Georgetown Record every week that the Georgetown Records is kind enough to let me put in. Has my name, my phone number. Give me a call. Like I say, I'll be glad to meet with you anywhere. A cup of coffee. Come over to my house. I'll go to your house, and I'll talk to you more about Masonry. And if you feel comfortable and you think it's for you, we'll love to have you join.
Well, Thank you very much for coming.
Mhm.
You've done a great job. It's so nice to learn so
Thank
much
you, Beverly, yeah.
about Masons and becoming a Mason and what you actually do.
There's just so much. This half hour is just the tip of the iceberg. And I've been in there for 6 years, and I'm just learning the very beginning of it. And that's why my involvement, I'm going to stay with it because it's a lifelong quest. And I'm really enjoying it, and I recommend it highly to any man. You got to be 18 years of older, believe in a supreme being, and I think most men, adult males, are that way. So, great organization.
Oh, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
For more information, check out the website, and if you think this is something that you would like to do, let them know and take an application, and there you are, and you can become a Mason. This is Spotlight Georgetown. I'm Beverly Enos. Catch us on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Thanks for joining us today. Bye for now.